out from the 2013 IFBB Wings of Strength Chicago Pro 212. We are here in Powerhouse Gym in Detroit, Michigan. We're going to be doing a little arm training. Welcome back, Shelby.
Thanks, Dave.
Shelby, we've talked to you innumerable times before. A lot of people enjoy your training videos. You have a science behind what you do, and we've interviewed you at obviously different times of your contest prep career, before shows, off season. Now we're just days before your pro debut here in Chicago, and we're doing a little arm training. Talk to me a little bit about the mental process going into a pro show, since it seems to be like you're starting all over again.
Yes, definitely starting all over again. It's kind of a paradigm shift, but I mean, it's a paradigm shift, but it's basically just the same thing. I mean, it's the exact same stuff. It's just like getting ready for any other show. It's just you're getting onto a pro stage with guys that are all champions now. These are all guys that have achieved pro status. And at this show, there's a lot of guys that have been around for many years. A lot of these guys are guys that I was reading about in the magazines and following when I was first getting into the sport in the late 90s. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of an honor to be able to step on stage with these guys like Craig Richardson, Derek Farnsworth, Tricky Jackson.
Now, years ago, Shelby, if you would have turned pro, you probably would have had a tough time, competing in the pro ranks. Obviously, now they have this 212 division, which seems right up your alley, right your weight class. Perfect. Matter of fact, you still have room to grow into this class. What's your goal? 'Cause I know every show you always compete at, you have a goal. I want to place. I want to win. I want to, what's your goal going into this event, as being your first pro show?
I think about that all the time. I thought about that the whole prep. I was thinking about it earlier today, and I mean, really, my goal with this weekend, my goal is to bring my A game, and that's really my only goal. I'm kind of a rookie at this point. I mean, everybody talks about wanting to win or wanting to place top 5 or anything like that, and that stuff's just, you do your best, and the rest of it is out of your hands. I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to be here. Have the opportunity to give it my all, and potentially bring my A game. I focus on my actions, not the results. Because your results come from your actions, but you can't focus on the results. You got to focus on the actions first. So, I just make sure I nail each day 100% and do everything that I'm supposed to do. And if the stars align, maybe I'll get a good luck. But I mean, regardless of what happens, this weekend, I'm still the same bodybuilder I was going into it. I still have the same strengths and weaknesses, and it's back to the gym the next week. Working on seeing what I need to improve. This is when you get on stage, it's just kind of like a check-in, sort of like in grade school, you would check in with your teacher every so often, like, how am I doing? I mean, in the bodybuilding lifestyle, competition is kind of the same way. I mean, if you follow this as a lifestyle and make this, what you do, competition isn't the be-all, end-all of it. Your bodybuilding lifestyle isn't dictated by your trophies or awards or placings or whatever. And you might get a poor placing, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't improve the last year. It just depends on who shows up. But it's sort of like to check in with the teacher and say, you know what, this is what I did right since last time. Maybe this is what I need to improve for next time. There's always lessons learned after a contest. You just keep improving. So
let's talk a little bit.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Let's talk a little bit about your training, because I noticed you're doing some very super slow motion type arm training movements here. Talk to me about what this philosophy.
Yeah, I've been working with John Meadows. You know John.
Sure.
He'll be competing at Masters Nationals in a couple weeks. gunning for his pro card. John handles my training. I've been working with John for a couple years now, and he does a lot of slow stuff on the arm days. Every so often we'll do some slower stuff on other movements, but he does it a lot more on arm days. We'll do a lot of 3-second negatives and sometimes even 5-second negatives. I think we might have been doing some skull crushers on that day with 5-second negatives, and that forces you to use a light weight. But it's definitely joint friendly and drives a lot of blood into the muscle. Keeps tension on the muscle. We don't always do real slow negatives like that. Every workout's different. So, but that's what we were doing that day. But arm training in general is more blood volume work. We're not doing any crazy heavy 4 to 6 rep barbell curls or anything like that. I don't think you get much growth out of that. There's a lot of potential for injury, but we do a little bit lighter, more blood volume type work for arms.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the obstacles you had going into this prep.
Which Troy won back in April.
Yes.
And my thinking with that was, hey, pro debut, go into a smaller show. The earlier shows are always smaller. Kind of get your feet wet, blah blah blah. So I started dieting for that. I just had some personal stuff come up. I didn't feel great with the diet. First of all, I had a very short off season. It was only 4 or 5 months after, winning Masters Nationals last year, which isn't really enough for me. I need more time than that. I'm not Juan Morel, who can add 10 pounds in 2 weeks or whatever.
Although when you first started, you added a lot of muscle very quickly, and so I think it gets harder as you add more muscle. That's really the truth of the matter. Yeah.
The more advanced you get, the more it slows down. So I think you just got to constantly be looking for new methods and tweaks and training and diet and everything to take it to that next level. But anyways, it got to about 6 weeks out from Orlando, and there was just some personal stuff going on, and then I had to get stitches in my leg, just a bunch of stuff that wasn't. It didn't make me feel right about the prep. I don't want to. I don't want to go through a prep if I can't give it 100%. So, this Chicago show was an option, and it was at that point it was 18 weeks out.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, this is maybe a better. I'll back off the pre-contest diet for a couple weeks, get a little bit of a rebound, get a little bit of a mental break, and then at 16 weeks out of Chicago, start prepping for that. And that worked out really good.
Is that tough? Was it tough? I want to just talk to that for a second, Shell. Was that tough for you? Because I know once you put your mind to doing something, it's like nothing can stop you. For you to have to actually stop and say, you know what, I got to reconfigure this whole thing. Did that screw you up as far as where you're at, or were you able to adapt relatively easily to that?
I've never done that before. I've never started prepping for a show and then changed, backed out or whatever. And this Chicago show this weekend is going to be my 14th show that I've done. This is my 9th year in a row competing. And it's the first time that happened, that I said that there was just, a handful of issues and I didn't feel comfortable going into the prep. But it was an easy decision to make. Like, if I'm not feeling comfortable in 100%, I don't know, I'm just very methodical in my thinking and how I do stuff. And it's just like, if this isn't 100%, I think it over. I give it, a few days or a week or whatever, and I think it over and look at it from all angles. But then once it's clear, you make your decision, and then it's boom. Now you're on to the next goal or whatever. I'm not one to hem and haw, and
Yeah.
So I just made the switch, and it was just change your mindset, and then all of a sudden you're gearing for the next show. So.
Now you're a guy who's always in condition. I mean, we've been working together for a number of years now. I mean, I've never seen you ever I don't think we've ever brought you in out of shape. You've always had striated glutes and the whole kit and caboodle. And, you know, you kind of have to, you really maximize what you bring to the stage. Is it frustrating sometimes when you maximize what you bring to the stage and sometimes it's just not enough to win the show or not enough to get you the placing maybe that you wanted? Or do you use that as inspiration to get better?
And being a top Olympia contender or whatever, and you know, I mean, I knew that to begin with. I mean, even just getting onto a pro stage is, for me, is just a crazy accomplishment. You know, I never would have imagined getting to this level. So, you know, I'm just thankful and grateful for what I am able to achieve, rather than, you know, being disappointed. Like I said, winning for me is bringing my A game.
And to me, you're always a winner, and I think you believe the same. And I suspect that we're going to see some good things for you come this Saturday. For now, though, we're out of time. I'm Dave Palumbo with Shelby Starnes in the Iron Asylum.